Flashlight, I'm Ronnie Dahl. Thank you so much for sharing your morning with us. So we'll start off today with a little history. Remember, it was July 4th, 1776. That's when America was born. And one of the best ways to celebrate our independence, of course, is with fireworks. And if you live in the greater West Bloomfield area, you know the coolest show around is the Cass Lake fireworks. Sparkling colors, the loud booms lighting up the night sky over the water. It is the best view and every child's delight, big and small. But making it happen takes money and a very big team effort. With this, now we want to go ahead and bring in Carl Rose, owner of Carl's Golfland. How are you this morning, Mr. Carl?
Good, Ronnie. How are you this morning?
We are great. Before we jump into the fireworks, how are things over at the golf shop? Every time I drive by, it's packed.
Yeah, things are just fine. We're right in the heat of the season, so this is the time of year where we get pretty busy.
Right, it's Father's Day. I need to try to keep my husband out of there.
No, don't do that. Send him in. We'll take good care of him. So
he likes to say, "Hey, it's Father's Day. I need a new golf club." No, you don't.
Sure you do. Yes, you do. Probably a bag, some balls, different things. So there's something he's got to need something.
Right? Exactly. Hey, well, thank you so much for being with us, because I know it's such a busy time for you, but I really want to get out the information about the fireworks, because for all of us that live in this area, we see the fireworks go off, and I think so many people don't realize the show that you and your team put on. You guys are volunteers, right?
Yeah, it's me and three of my neighbors that kind of put it together. Ferris Naimi, Frank Campanelli, and Alan Miller. All kind of guys. We all live on the same street, and it started many years ago. We'd talk about it. It seemed like around the 4th of July every year, or after the 4th of July. It's like, what a shame, Here's Cass Lake, the largest lake in Oakland County. No organized fireworks. Maybe during the holiday you'd be out on your boat and you could see this lakes or that country clubs from afar, and it's kind of like, how can we live on this lake and not have fireworks? And it started with Ferris call. We talked about, like I say, kind of all of us casually for years. And Ferris called me, I think it was spring of 19, and said, Carl, we've talked about this. Why don't we try and get together and see if we can't put something together? So the four of us got together and met for coffee a few mornings, and that's kind of how it got rolling. Just kind of with thoughts of like, we got to get something going.
Well, as someone that gets to view them, from the porch of our home, I want to say thank you, because they really are spectacular. But how much does something like this cost?
I can't remember this year. It's gone up a few every year, but and I know that's kind of proprietary. Gen X Pyrotechnics that does it. He doesn't like us to share that because, you know what I mean? Because, this lake's looking at doing it and this lake's doing it. I will tell you, it is the largest fireworks show he does in the state of Michigan. And we're very fortunate, obviously, living on the biggest lake in Oakland County, and obviously many neighbors, many lake neighbors, people I don't even know, local businesses have kind of stepped up. And, we felt that, hey, number one, it is such a large lake that it can accommodate a big show. And it's, like I say, Gen X Pyrotechnics. I've got to know Jason Trudeau pretty good, who owns the company. He's a golfer. So I see him in here quite often. And, I know he's extremely proud of the show because it's the largest one he does, bigger than any of the country clubs, bigger than any of the other lakes. So we spend pretty significantly, but as I say, he's always like, Carl, all the lakes are kind of like, well, how much is this? And, and he said, I just, if you guys can keep that to yourself, it's appreciated, but it's very expensive.
Right, and so donations are greatly appreciated. But before we kind of jump into that, can I ask you, Carl, since you started this, what have you learned about how to put on a fireworks show?
Well, Gen X Pyrotechnics makes it very easy. When we started out, We had Gen X involved, and there was another company. And the other company, it's kind of a little bit sometimes, come to find out, you get what you pay for. The other company was more reasonable. So we decided to go that way, trying to be sensitive to the cost. But what we told both of them, it's like, hey, we're just kind of, a nonprofit volunteer, couple guys on the lake. We don't want any responsibility, any liability, any of this. And so we commit to this other company, and we're kind of we're down the road on it. And the guy comes back and he says, well, you guys are responsible for going to, you got to go to the fire department. Everything's got to be permitted. It's got to be permitted through the DEQ because they stage it over at Dodge Park, and Dodge Park's been very great about, letting him stage the fireworks there. And then the liability, the insurance. And this company came back, and also they're like, well, you guys will be liable for it, and the insurance side of it. And we're like, no, that's not what you said to begin with. Well, that's what the owner says. So we pivoted pretty quick our first year and went back to kind of Jason hat in hand and said, hey, can you still do these? And so he's, Jason, it's I say it, I think he's probably, one of the largest guys in the state of Michigan that does this. And he does, his summers have got to be very, very, very busy. So, but, he's made it very easy for us in the sense of, hey, we just got to gather up the dough, and then, he takes it from there. And he's been a first-class operator.
See, there are so many of these little things that go into this that, for us that are sitting on the sidelines and just watching, we don't realize all the pieces of the puzzle that go into it. So I know that he's kind of over by Dodge Park. Is he on a barge?
Yeah, it's a matter of fact, last year, and he kind of stepped up because it was such a large show, and I think he uses it from a promotional standpoint, 3 barges. There's no lake that has 3 barges out there, and there'll be 3 barges again this year.
Take that, Sylvan Lake.
Oh, it's you start watching the show, and where you've kind of got the competing fireworks. It surely is not like what's done on the Detroit River, but you just don't typically see some of that stuff at a country club or on any of the other lakes. They're typically 1 barge shows, and he's lighting off 3 barges out there. So, if you kind of sit back and go, wow, it's impressive. It's impressive to go over and look at his equipment. He's invited me to come out to where he stores the fireworks. I said, I don't want to get anywhere near your building. It's, it probably takes a special breed to do that. Because when you look at these barges, and I've drove over by Dodge when he's setting the show up that day, and it's holy moly. You better know what you're doing.
You really do. I will say I've had the opportunity when I worked for ATF. We did inspections at some of the storage units for some of these fireworks companies, and it is an education. And you're right, how they have to store it and where it comes from and the shipping. But it's also putting a show on. They're very meticulous about which fireworks go off when and which ones go together. A lot goes into it.
Oh yeah, he's once again all these barges, they're all custom built. I wouldn't call it a pontoon. They're barges that he has custom built to do this, and he has his own boats. That was one of the other things with that other company that we didn't go with. They started telling us, which they initially that wasn't the case, we would be responsible for keeping people back from the shows. In boats and stuff. Well, Jason has, I think, 3 of his own boats out there that all have flashers on them, and he coordinates with the, city of Kego, the Oakland County sheriffs, to make sure that it's safe. Once again, these are explosives. Fireworks are dangerous, and I know that we all feel very good about using Jason. That he's the real deal, and he makes sure that it's a good time, great show, and it's a safe show, and that's what's important. The last thing in the world you'd ever want to see is somebody get hurt from a firework or something like that. And there's a lot of coordination on his end to make sure that all comes off and everybody has a good time safely.
Well, he definitely does an amazing job. How far out, like, to book him? Do you have to book him like for 3 years from now? Because everyone wants them around this time of year, right?
Yeah, we've commit to him every year. Matter of fact, you know what? You have to put a very significant deposit down. He's buying fireworks, a year in advance. So the show won't be done, and we'll have to give him a very significant deposit for next year. And we've kind of, and obviously there's a lot of thought goes into it. A lot of people, everybody would probably like to have it on the 4th of July, which I know is a very difficult date. We've kind of, locked up with him that kind of Friday before. Now, I think it's maybe not next year, the year after. It's going to get kind of funny with the holiday falling during the week. So we'll kind of have to figure out what day we think makes sense, for everybody to have their get-togethers and that type of thing. But no, we work way in advance with Jason on that.
Well, we know for so many of us over in the Lakes region, it really is the whole month, right? I mean, you start mid-June and they'll be going off every night. The big thing about this, though, it is a community event. We, need people to understand that this is not, funded through a city. This is funded through donations from companies, but individuals too. So if you enjoy it, if you see them, even if it's a cup of coffee, skip Dunkin' Donuts, skip your Starbucks, and give $5. It all adds up, right?
It sure does. It's, the first year we were nervous. We, some of the original founders of us, and then we've had some other people step up at kind of a high level. But it comes down to, it's like, gosh, there's so many homes that touch the lake. If everybody gave $20, maybe we could have 4 barges. You know what I mean? To me, it's kind of the bigger the better. But it's gotten better and better every year. People, and I think that the first year or two when people kind of heard about it, they kind of maybe have that sit back and kind of like, is this really going to be the real deal? And and I've had people that over the years, the last few years, I kind of come by and go, wow, Carl, I didn't contribute last year. I wasn't kind of sure, but you can count on me next year. And it doesn't, like you say, it doesn't matter if it's $5, $20, or it's $1,000. We appreciate it, and we're rolling it right back in. The company that we set up, we were fortunate. Alan Miller's an attorney, so we had kind of good guys. Alan's done that all pro bono through his law firm, set it up. It's a nonprofit. We had a few extra bucks last year that just sat in the account, but ended up going out in a deposit. But you know what? It's and obviously the 4 of us, we don't pay ourselves or anything. It's all legit. It's all set up legal beagle, and hey. And it's getting more expensive. Jason hasn't pinned down the price for 23, but I know that I saw him in here, and he's like, Carl, the cost of this stuff is going up. So much of these fireworks come from overseas, and we're all aware of even to ship things into this country, the shipping costs are going up and up. So he's like, I would start to mentally prepare yourself for, the show is going to be more next year. So.
Yep, it impacts all of us. So before we go away, let you go for the day, we do want to ask, when is the show for those that maybe have not seen the flyer, and how can they donate?
Yeah, it's Friday, July 1st. It'll start at dusk. You can, if somebody wanted to write a check, which I'm an old school, I write checks.
Yeah, I was going to say, the new generation, they don't have checks any longer, Carl.
We've got the other way too. You can write a check to Cass Lake Fireworks, Inc. There is a Facebook page that has this information on it. And then it can be mailed to 3220 Erie Drive, Orchard Lake. It can be Venmoed at Cass Lake-Fireworks, or you can do it via PayPal which is castlakefireworksinc@gmail.com. So, and like I say, Ronnie, it's, hey, we were fortunate. Somebody gave us a list a couple of years ago of every house that touches the water. And I mean, I can't remember what it was. I think it's like 700 homes. When you think about Cass as big as it is, and you start factoring in all the canals and, if everybody gave 10, 20 bucks, we'd be in great shape. So, but like I say, it's people have kind of continued to step up every year, whereas the first year we were all kind of concerned, and the four of us agreed that, like, hey, if we come up short, we'll make it up, and we've, on our flyer, if you look at it, we kind of set it up so I think people like to be acknowledged, and it was kind of the group's consensus that, hey, we have kind of a platinum, $1,000 or above, gold, 500 or above, silver, 250 above. So, if people are stepping up at a higher level, we're including that on kind of the brochure we put out every year. So we welcome whatever, and you know what? And like I say, that $10, $20, it makes a difference. And a lot of people have stepped up at that level. That's what gets us there.
Well, I'm sure it's going to continue again this year because so many people coming out of COVID want to get back to our family traditions. So thank you. Say thank you to the entire team, because I know you guys put a lot of work into this.
We'll do that, Ronnie. Thanks for having me on today. Much appreciated. Thanks for the help.
Well, we love what you guys are doing because we get to enjoy the show, and it's spectacular. It's fabulous. So than's so much.
It's going to be a good,
and
we'll see you. It's going to be a good one this year.
See you over at Carl's.
Okay, Ronnie. Send Woody in, he's got to need something.
Oh, there's always a list. Trust me.
There you go. Don't forget Father's Day.
Right, exactly. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ronnie.
And of course, we always want to let you know each week we like to highlight someone from the greater West Bloomfield community going above and beyond to improve our little corner of the world. Show your gratitude. Tell us about them. We've made it easy. You can scan the QR code on your screen and fill out the Google form with the person's contact info and why you think they should be recognized. Perfect example. People we just spoke with. It could be a person, a business, or an organization, and you can also find the form by going to civiccentertv.com. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
It's peaceful, it's quiet, and the noise and stress of life can sometimes disappear.
It's the Great Lakes water, and so what people do ends up in our waterways.
It's for our health and safety, it's for our economy, it's for protecting the environment that we all enjoy and we all need to survive.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
We're all about one water in this region. We're all connected. We all have a role.
And now, back to The Splash Live.
Happening around town, are you already thinking about lunch? Well, guess what? It is Food Truck Tuesday, and on today's menu, The Stand. The food truck will be serving up lunch from 11:30 until 1:30 p.m. It's going to be happening over at the Civic Center complex. The truck will be parked at the south end of the Recreation Activity Center parking lot. By the way, seating is going to be available, so you don't have to stand and eat. And of course, if you're already thinking about lunch, what are you thinking about having for lunch? Because of course summer is here, it's time to get moving, but what is the right exercise for you to burn off your lunch calories? With us this morning, Coach Gayle. Good morning. Thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning. Hi, Ronnie.
So I'm always confused by this because I go on TikTok and it's like, What is best? Because I think I grew up in the generation where it was cardio, 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 cardio. But now you're hearing more about weights. Which one is right for individuals, or does it just matter?
So this is quite the topic. Everyone seems to have the right answer, but here's what I would say. I would say just like variety of food and nutrients are important for the human body and the mind, I would say a variety of exercise is also important. So, maybe you have your favorite, maybe you're a runner, maybe you like to lift weights, maybe you like Zumba and dancing around, however you like to move, it might be worth thinking about trying something new and adding it to your repertoire so that your body gets a little bit of everything.
And really, it's if you like something, you're more likely to do it more often. I would imagine as we get a little older, so many of us have experienced some past injuries. How do we work that into our exercise program?
Yeah, so a lot of, the theme that you might be hearing if you're listening to me chat and talk and share my thoughts each week is that it is very individual. So, a lot of times when you're trying to get into a routine, and that might be difficult for you, people tend to imagine, they tend to guess, they tend to assume, they tend to believe one thing or another. When you find the right professional to help you figure out where to start and where you're at that moment, what you need, and then build from there, there's a much better chance for you to be able to figure out what's right for you. Whether you're protecting a body part, whether you have limitations, whether you're strong and want to add, whatever that might be, that variety is out there. And finding that right professional to, number one, ask you lots of questions. You've heard me say that before, is when you find a professional that talks a lot about what they do and how they do it and fail to ask you all about yourself, that's a red flag. So, finding somebody who you can explain how you're feeling, what you're going through, what you've done, what works for you, what doesn't, and then having that professional, that trainer, have a bag of tricks, have experience, be certified, be understanding of your situation, and know where to start with you. That is a huge way for you to kind of enter into the territory of adding or starting with a little bit more positivity and success potential.
A couple more minutes here with you, Coach Gayle. Can I ask you, as we age, mobility and being flexible seems to go away. How important is that to address that when we're trying to come up with an exercise program?
I would say critical. And it isn't just necessarily about aging. We just happen to notice it more when we're aging. So, when was the last time you thought about your joints, your toes, your ankles, your knees, your hips, your fingers, elbows, neck, all of those places in your body, those joints in your body that allow us to move freely? Thinking about strengthening and paying attention to those particular areas of your body in order for the rest of you to move properly is a huge factor. Stretching is different than mobility, is different than range of motion, and everybody is different. So, I happen to be a stick mobility certified coach, which is a system of exercise that focuses not on bouncing around or lifting weights, though that's a lot of us have that in our mind is what exercise is. But instead, this type of exercise is a complement or a starting point for joint strength, mobility, and what I like to call functional training. And that is, hey, when was the last time you reached up to grab something off of a top shelf, or the seatbelt in your car, or getting in and out of your car, or lifting your groceries or your child? All of those require your body to work well and is a part of what we talk about and figure out where you're at and help you to move forward there.
That's such good information. I'm going to have to try that, by the way. You know,
I would love it.
Go behind your back and see if you can touch your hands. I cannot do that. So
Yes, those kinds of things are possible, and they help so much, Ronnie. They help so much in our daily routine. So here's the key, guys. If you are imagining, if you're assuming, if you're frightened, if you're wondering, if you're confused, find a professional. Here's one right here that can help you figure that out and get you started or add to your routine in a way that is safe, fun, and meaningful.
I love that. And with that, Coach Gayle, as always, tell people how they can contact you.
Sure. 248-885-1400 is text or call. You can also go to my website and message me from there and take a little browse around. That's Gayle, CoachGayle.com. Gayle, CoachGayle.com.
Well, we so appreciate your time. As always, I learned so much, and you always motivate me. After our talk last week, every day this week, I'm getting up doing that one thing.
I love it, Ronnie. I can't wait to hear what it is. We'll have to chat after. This is great.
Well, thanks again for your time. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
That's going to wrap it up for today's edition of The Splash Live. I, of course, always want to say thank you to our guests for being with us, as well as all of you for tuning in. Have a happy day, Michigan.